All right, ladies.
Ready with all the
Welcome. So welcome everybody. For those of you that are watching live, welcome watching live, and you're more than welcome to turn on your camera if you want to say hi. You know, I don't care if you're naked, but I understand if you're like, meh, you know. If you're watching on the replay, then
how about maybe
welcome. You can't be naked, Nicole. We're gonna be having the focus on you.
Okay. Okay. I was just gonna say maybe keep the camera off if you're naked.
Yeah. Yeah, because this is going to be going on YouTube later, and they can be a little bit of sticklers when it comes to that. So, ladies, I have known Nicole Dewey for many moons now. Absolutely love her to death. I have learned so much from her as far as motivation, goal setting, also thinking outside the box. And I really was excited about having her do this training on goal setting and dream planning for the fact that you need that from time to time. And she is living proof that you can use your Pure Romance business as a vehicle to achieve other dreams and goals that you have. You don't have to just goal set saying, I want to have this many parties, or I want to have this much in sales, or I want to hit, President's Club, or I want to get this incentive trip. You don't have to have just business oriented goals of like, step ladder, I'm going to achieve this. You can use your business to do other things. And Nicole, if you have a hot minute, I would love for you to kind of expand on that a little bit more. So that way the ladies can really fully understand how they can use this job to actually open up new opportunities for them. So I'm going to go ahead and let her take it away. I'm going to mute myself, but I will be watching the chat. And then ladies, if you happen to have any questions, pop them in the chat. And then afterwards we will have open Q&A. Okay. So take it away, Nicole.
Well, hello, ladies. Dee, I am so glad that you asked me to start with that, because I think that will give the perfect introduction into what we're doing here this evening. Because first, I want to ask you ladies, before I explain a little, and just put this in the chat for Dee, but I have to ask, if you could do anything, you were a self-made, inherited billionaire, trillionaire, whatever, if you never had to work necessarily another day in your life, what would you do with all your time? Okay, so just keep that thought in the back of your head, and then just let Dee know, because so the reason why I asked that question is because I have been with Pure Romance for over 12 years. I've been on the board of directors many years. I've been on President's Club many years. Guess what? That ain't going to happen next year, because that's not one of my goals, and we will get there. But every single training, every empowering moment that we meet, that we learn things from, just so much has happened. And anytime you've ever been to a corporate training, which $39, January 12th, but anytime you have heard Chris Cicconelli speak, Rise and Grind, any of the numerous things that you can watch him on, he has always asked us to dream bigger. And, if your Pure Romance business was all set, you had all your ducks in a row, you had that perfect life balance thing that he tells you doesn't exist, because it doesn't. But what would you do? And I truly think it's Chris's permission to think that way. I was brought up in a goal-oriented world, but, listening to Zig Ziglar tapes at 10 years old. That's how I got grounded when I was. But I had never thought of dreaming and being big with my dreams until the way Chris worded it, because he has that just matter-of-fact way of telling us stuff. And that just, over the years was in the back of my head. I didn't think of anything. I didn't write out a plan right away. I wouldn't have even been able to have commented, for those of you that did comment, because I didn't know the damn answer. I love being at home. I love being in nature. I love doing things. I love making other people feel special. I had no idea what my dream job would mean at that point. So I keep going with Pure Romance, and I'm going to keep going with Pure Romance. I told so many ladies at my parties, I will probably be selling, I know this is going on the to be used, so I will be selling bedroom accessories until I'm probably 90 and can't walk anymore. But with the permission to work from home, and to dream bigger. And then at break for a year there, where us ladies had to pivot and learn how to sell digitally and not go into homes every single night, things started to change for me. It didn't all happen at once, but with more reading of different books and talking to different women and different leaders who also wanted different things and to develop some of their passions, all of these things just started coming together, where I realized at the time, my daughters were, well, 9 and 14, they would have been, that I do not want to be home every single night at this point in my life, at this point in my business. That could change in another couple of years. Right now, I want to be home with these guys. Even though I sometimes think that they're a-holes, I still want to be home with my family and not in and out of homes every single night like I was, because I was partying like 5 nights a week. And that's awesome. It is awesome. It's so awesome to meet that many women and make that many connections and to be putting all that money in the bank account, paying off debt. But with all of that going on, and then that chance to take a break and not going in and out of homes every night, it got me focused on what my passions really were. And that is gardening. That is being with my family. That is teaching others how to live the homesteading, so to speak, lifestyle that we do. You know, my hashtag is Dewey Does It. And I've always believed in living alive and do life different, as Pure Romance, has our little slogans being, but it is true. And without some of the goal setting stuff that I'm going to talk to you ladies about, none of this would have happened. I would have never dreamed big enough. And for those of you that don't know, I know Dee's like, will you just get what you actually do know? For those of you ladies that don't know, we now have a legitimate glamping business in our backyard. I have formed something called Release Resistant Social Club, LLC. Again, another thing without Pure Romance, I would have never done. Like, I don't know how to make an LLC. I don't know how to start a business. I don't know how to do that. But you know what have we learned? You can Google pretty much anything. Okay. So if you don't know the answers, you can't reach up to Upline. Guess what? I had no Upline with this stuff. I started my own damn business. But I figured it out. And I knew how to because of Pure Romance and that drive to be like our best version of ourselves, so to speak. So that is what is going on. We have a glamping, we have 2 glamping units in our backyard. We have weddings. We have all kinds of things that go on now. And it is a lot of fun. We just had a yoga in the yurt class last Sunday. It's been amazing. So how does that break into you doing what you want to do? And for you right now, 12 years, my why when I started Pure Romance was to pay off student loans. That happened in 6 years. That was $90,000 in student loans. But my why changed after that. And then it changed again, and it changed again. And yours will too. And that's the good thing to know. When life happens, when you're dealt these different things that you're like, oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting that. And we're going to talk about that. It's okay to pivot and change. And holy cow, just having to switch to online training and learning and all that teach us how to pivot and learn. Because I don't know about you, I do know about you ladies. I know that you are some smart, hard ass workers. And we're not just gonna like sit on the couch and be like, oh, my business sucks, I can't do anything. No, you're on here, you're watching this. You have the dedication to make things happen. So first of all, I have notes to keep my squirrely butt on track. I do want to know, please comment and let Dee know, who has been their own boss before Pure Romance? If you have been your own boss before, just comment and let Dee know. Again, I'm not going to look at comments. But what are some of the advantages? And please go ahead and participate with what are some of the advantages. I think for me, the biggest advantage and why I used to be a human resources each other, hiring, firing, benefits, 401k, all of that. And I think one of the biggest advantages to being your own boss is you can design your own schedule. And that alone allowed me to open up the other business. And I don't do parties on nights where I have a bunch of add-ons for glampers, but being your own boss has a lot of advantages. But guess what? Dee, you don't have to comment because you're probably muted, but I would almost say that it has even more disadvantages. Being your own boss is hard, ladies. It's hard. There's nobody there to tell you what to do. Well, you got D, if you are smart enough to listen to her help. But there's nobody there to tell you what to do next. Like at 7 o'clock, you have to do this, and 8 o'clock, you have to do this, and at 9 o'clock, you have to have those invoices up. Blah, blah, blah. Oh my goodness. No. So with all the disadvantages, I want you to think of SMART goals, because you know that, yeah, I don't have that set schedule. I don't have somebody telling me what to do when, and I need to get my goals and what I can done in the time frame that works with my other job, or the time frame that works with my children, or the time frame that works with me being a badass salon owner, like whatever your case may be. So knowing that there's those disadvantages to being a boss babe, so to speak, because you're just responsible for everything. I think that a big thing before we talk about SMART goals, as I'm looking at my notes again, that you have to think about is that you do need I was working with Sarah Klein from the Dream Manager program. One of the best things she taught me when we were listing out all of our goals and everything I wanted to accomplish was to do the opposite and write down everything that could go wrong. And I am such a law of attraction. I'm like, no, like, I don't want to think like that. I don't want to attract that. I'm all. So for those goals that you have, I want you to go through and write down two or three things that could go wrong. So a couple of my goals had big financial ties to them, like we were trying to pay off debt. So I'm like, oh my gosh, what if what if the furnace went out? What if my car dies? What if I need new tires? What if I get sick and can't work? And I looked at those types of things for every single one of my goals. And that's not setting yourself up for failure by any means. It's not being or opposite law of attraction. That is helping you be proactive versus reactive. So much of our society, and me too when I get caught in my little rat wheel, but we live in the reactive sometimes. And that's when you find yourself, you're just like, that anxiety is up here. I got to get this and this and this and this done. And when you have that plan, you're like, stuff could go wrong. That's cool. If stuff goes wrong, I know how to adapt, and I know how to get that mojo back, so to speak, because you have planned for it. And then if you haven't, and this is where I was going with the disadvantages to being your own boss, being a strong woman, I've noticed a theme over 12 years with other strong women. We have a hard time asking for help. And I'll tell you, as soon as I hit 40, that went right out the window. I started asking everybody for help, because a lot of times we look as asking for help as a sign of weakness. Some of us, it was the way we were raised. Some of us, it's the way we were conditioned. So I just want you to keep that in the back of your mind for a minute, the setbacks. And we're going to talk SMART real quick. So SMART goals, most of you know this. This is not anything revolutionary. I by no means made it up. It's just your goals need to be specific. They need to be measurable. They need to be realistic. You can't be like, I want to own a private jet next year. Well, good for you, sweetie. Let's see how that works out for you. SFAR, and then T, timely. And not only do they need to be those damn things, there's a reason why I posted forms to your group page today. They need to be written down. Okay, yes. I think so many of us know, you've seen this plaque a million times. If it's not written down, if a dream is not written down, it's words. Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. If it's not written down, it's just a dream. It's not a plan. So you got to keep in mind that with these goals that I'm going to go over with you, these forms that I'm going to go over with you, they're going to help you with your SMART goals, and they're going to help you literally break down into it. Now, I hope some of you were able to watch the why video, because this, again, is why I was talking about being your own boss and having those setbacks. Often it's not easy, and it does feel easy to give up at times, but that's when you have to go back to why you're doing this. And sometimes your why might be some little rehearsed spiel that you give during your parties, because it sounds good and it looks good on paper and that's what you thought it was. But when you start really thinking about it, or you watch that video and you're crying at the end, like I was, like the first 3 times I watched it, you realize it's a little deeper than that. And you may have a deeper why than what you want to tell people. And that's okay. You can keep some things private, but your why may be that you never want to be on the streets again and you don't want to not have money. So it's different for everybody. And because of that, because it's different for everybody, because so many women are used to, okay, I got to set a goal. So many, January's coming, you're going to start working out. And then guess what? In 2 weeks, you're not going to feel it anymore. And be like, oh, you already missed a couple of days and you quit. That is like patriarchal thinking that you have to go, do all the time. You have to realize that we are women, and I'm not going to go all hoodoo on you, but you have to realize that we are all women. Our bodies naturally follow, I don't even know where the hell it would be right now, the moon cycle. And that's why at the beginning of a new moon, you're just starting to get those new ideas. They're brewing, you're getting all these goals. You're like, oh yeah, I want to do this next year. And I want to do this next year. And then that first quarter of the moon, that's growing. Full moon is when you're just tackling everything. You're like, yeah, I got this. We can do it. And then as the moon starts to wane, and again, this is just the gravitational pull affecting all of our things inside of us as women. But as that moon starts to wane, that is when we lose that motivation. That is when we lose that drive, because we're not 24-hour cyclical like men. And that's when so many give up, because you think that's how it's supposed to be. But holy cow, if you had permission to know that that happens every single week of the month and work with that, it'll make you crushing your goals a lot easier. So plan for the setbacks and know that you will have those lacks of energy. I'm not going to go all moon cycles on you totally, but you can Google it, YouTube it, figure it out. Okay. So the first sheet that I want to talk to you about with your actual goals that you are writing down. Now, I realize not all of you have a printer. You might be trying to look at it at your phone while you're trying to look at the Zoom and not accidentally close it. But the first one, depending on what you got, there's 2 forms of it on our training website. It is called Design Your Life, and it's also called the Dream Profile, same form. And this is actually for potential consultants. Oh my gosh. Is tomorrow December 2nd? Something big is happening on December 2nd for potential consultants. This might be a good thing to reach out to some of those ladies with. Yes, I did that on purpose. But a lot of times when we see something like this, again, our brain closes. We're like, oh, I'm not a new consultant. I don't need to do that. You know what? After you've been a consultant for even like a week and people are like, what's your website? And you're like, I don't know. How do you make money? I don't know. Because you didn't listen to Dee. Sorry, I'm setting you up on a whole pedestal now, sweetie. But that is when you really know what's going on in your business. You know what's going on the website. Some of these terms are starting to make sense. So after you're in the business, this is an even better time to go back and fill this out again. So I'm not going to read every single word, and some of this doesn't apply. But the really nice thing with the Design Your Life or the Dream Profile is that in the middle part, it says, I should have had this open on my computer screen and actually shared the screen with you. Yeah, that would have been a smart goal. But in the middle, it talks about your work style. Okay. And when I truly back up, you're going to see a whole mess of laundry back there because I'm making laundry grab bags. But in the middle, it talks about your work style. You know what? I'm just going to read this to you. It talks about, are you a results-oriented, quick decisions, takes control, time is valuable, and to the point person? Or are you a people-oriented, love to talk, motivational, enthusiastic, recognition-oriented person? Or are you a detail-oriented, perfectionist, persistent, analytical, cautious decision maker? I'm a perfectionist in your recovery, y'all. And then last, if none of those applied to you, or maybe you think you're all good for you, you're well-rounded. Are you family-oriented, loyal, slow to change, security-minded, and goes by the rules? So realistically, I'm the last 2. I'm detail-oriented, perfectionist in recovery, because I gave a lot of that up last year. And family-oriented, loyal, big time, real big time. So think about what kind of work style you are. And this is going to go back to understanding why these goals are important and how you can achieve them. Because if you are not the results oriented, quick decision, takes control, perfectionist that needs the Excel spreadsheet, blah, blah, blah person, and D is talking to you in spreadsheets and numbers, it's, well, that wouldn't be her, but you get my drift, okay? So it really helps to know which one of these is the way you work. Because guess what? You're your own boss. You hired yourself. You own a company now. You are the CEO of Pure Romance by you. All right. So it is important to know what the hell kind of boss you got. And then the next one doesn't really need to be discussed, but as far as work goes, this is helpful too. Do you prefer to be the boss or do you prefer to have a boss? If you prefer to be the boss, you probably are cool with finding stuff out on your own. When I started, I learned everything on my own. I didn't have a team. I didn't have support. I learned everything on my own. Or are you a have a boss person? If you are the kind of person that you're like, oh my gosh, I love to have a boss and I just bought my own business. It's okay. That's why you have the network and sisterhood of support. But again, it helps if you know what your preference is. And then if your current role is your current role, so whatever you got going on, if you're a new consultant, if you just got your kit and you have a side hustle, but you hate it, or like a real job and you hate that, whatever the case may be, is your current role going to take you where you would like to be 5 years from now? We've all heard about the 5-year plan. Where do you want to be 5 years from now? Is the little vehicle that you're in right now going to get you there? I'll tell you right now, this internet's not going to get me there. Talk about that. And then this is a big one because we all do what we do for different reasons. We all do what we do for different reasons. But let's be realistic. A lot of it ties back to money. Okay. A lot of it ties back to money. So which monthly bill, if you could pick one of these, would you like to eliminate? Your rent or mortgage, your car, your credit card, or another big bill? Maybe you got a ton of medical bills. That's why a lot of people start this. So which one of those bills would you like to eliminate? Now, assuming that you are comfortable in your role at Pure Romance, or maybe you're not yet, but you're willing to learn, or the role you have at your day job, night job, whatever the hell time you work, what do you like best about what you do right now? What do you like best about it? I'm right there with you with the mortgage D. Apparently I can see some now. I didn't even touch that. And then what do you like least about your current role? And I know some of you are like, I thought we were talking about goals. Why is she asking me what I like most and what I like least? It all goes back to helping you get that goal. If you know that you don't like doing paperwork, but you love making packages pretty, guess what? Ask for help. Use what you excel at. Ask a sister consultant for something that she excels at, that you suck at. Work together and you can make things happen. But if you don't have the self-awareness to know, it does make it a lot more difficult. And then this is the big one. What would your perfect career be? How many hours would you want to work? What do you want to make weekly? What do you want to make monthly? Is there anything else? Like, do you want to be earning trips to Mexico? Do you want to just have enough to be able to take a week off a month? Like, what is your perfect career? Hours, income, other. And then next, I'm not going to go into this one because this is a longer one, but if you print off the dream plan, dream profile, it talks about achieving your dream. And there's all kinds of different women who are Pure Romance consultants. And it asks you, you know, are you doing this to gain friends, for self-improvement, to empower and educate women, to work from home? And again, obviously you're already doing this, but the self-realization, Sometimes we don't analyze ourselves. We push that back. We put our bad stuff that goes on like back. We don't want to think of that. So sometimes just checking off, oh my gosh, yeah, I do want to make new friends. I didn't even realize I wanted friends. Or yeah, I do want to work from home. Sometimes actually looking at the words and pointing out what you are will make a big difference to yourself. And then this is going to go more into the goal digger form that we're going to talk about, but I'm going to go all CLC, Chris Ciccanelli on you. What is your dream? If you had a dream, what is it? And obviously you're not going to spit out like a 5-year elaborate dream plan in these comments to be like with the quickness, but just start thinking about it. Okay. And then, oh my gosh, let's say you make your dream happen. I actually started my business out there. How would achieving your dream make a difference in your life and the lives of your family? I could tell you right now, I've made a huge difference in a lot of our glampers' lives, people who have never been camping, people who needed to be spoiled and pampered. And that other business is basically what's, we've broken even on everything. It's going to be how I pay for my daughter's college. That stuff's not free. And oh my gosh, they might want to get married one day too. All right. So think of the dreams, and then how would achieving them make a difference in the lives of you, your family, your friends, your dog, your cat, your goldfish, whatever, your peacock, your ducks. This is a big one because some of you see the ladies, in our, I can't think of it right now, but in our training group that we have from corporate, you see all these people doing their demo videos, you see different leaders, and you're like, yeah, I want that, I want that, I want that. You see women doing $20,000, $30,000 flash sales, you're like, I want that.
Oh no, we lost her. Don't worry, we will hopefully get her back. She will be like, oh no, there she is. You weren't gone long, love.
Just the tip, my God. Oh, come on, girls, you can do it. Send the good vibes to the internet. All right. This is the important one though. How many hours are you actually available to work your pure romance business? Because I got to tell you, if it's only 3 and you want to make 100 or sell 100 grand, ain't going to happen. And this again is where the self-actualization and writing it all down and working it all out helps. Okay. If you have 12 or more hours a week to work towards your dream and you wrote that down, but you're not, maybe you need to up your priorities and what you're actually doing. Maybe you're doing too much of this and scrolling. Maybe you're not actually working, which is another hard part about being your own boss. Okay. Squirrels. And then this is the last one I'm going to talk about in detail in here. And then we're going to move on in case internet gods fail us more. But this was a big one to me, and this made me realize that I didn't have to only do pure romance by going in and out of homes. Which sales channels appeal to you the most? One-on-one, social media, online parties, in-person parties, and again, look at it. If you have one of those, but maybe your goal is like one of those BHAG, big, hairy, scary, whatever goals, maybe you can't have just one of these selected. Maybe you need to add another one. Okay. So Amber Dines loves the one-on-ones. This is again why I love talking and having the differences known. That is not my game. That is not. I do love in-home parties, but don't give me more than 2 a month right now. But I am an introvert. I just been forced to be an extrovert because of pure romance. Never would have realized that without all this self-actualization stuff. So you ladies can do this next part on your own, but at the bottom of that form is where it is going to tie into your money. So you're going to circle the monthly profit that you want to make based on how many hours. Again, it's just that realization. And then how much could you potentially earn in the next 3 months? It literally, I'm really bad at math, but it literally walks you through it all. Okay, so if you've got your phone and a pen, you can figure this out. If not, give it to a teenager. They know everything. Next form. This one I'm going to go over very briefly because it is it's a different, simpler version than this. but I know that we all learn in different ways, which is why I wanted to give different resources tonight. So if you are a money person, a numbers person, you're like, I have big goals. I am selling, 75,000 next year. I'm recruiting 24 people. I'm going to be on President's Club. I'm going to do these things. Well, there's this goal setting form too. And this one, all you're going to do is put in your plan. This could easily be done online too, but this, you're just going to put in what your buying discount is. How many parties do you want to have? What is your party average? If you don't know what your party average is, ask Steve, because there are some great reports on the COO. You don't put your stuff in there, guess what? You can still figure it out. If I can figure out my party averages, so could you. And then, of course, dividing that by the retail that you want for the month. And then what do you want over the next year? What is your current title? What do you need to sponsor? Who do you need to sponsor? How many partners do you need to go out and help so that you can get to that next title that you're trying to achieve, if that is your goal? Again, it does not have to be all about titles and positions. And if your goal is to simply normalize $1,000 a month just to have that extra, a few hundred, $400 for yourself, that is an amazing ass goal. And you should be proud of that. Don't see some of these numbers that other people do and think that you have to do that. You do you. And this is where I was saying I gave up my perfectionist in recovery. I was a numbers oriented person. I was a goal oriented, title driven person. And since we opened this business that had been a long time dream, that is when I was like, that stuff doesn't matter to me anymore. Titles don't matter. If I'm on some fancy board next year, it doesn't matter. I still have friends. I can still get the resources I need. May I want to be back the following year? Maybe, but this next year is not my priority. And I would have never said this before, but I am the first to give you permission to change your mind. And you don't have to think that you only have to do big things. Because I got to tell you, ladies, sometimes just doing the little nuggets, $1,000, $3,000 a month consistently is going to make a way bigger difference when you are consistent. You don't have to keep recreating the wheel like every other month too. And then last but not least, not to be, you all know I'm a dork. I actually made this form, but I am not the numbers and breaking down all the stuff person. To me, I'm that video that I shared on the page, Fear Your Why, or My Fear, I don't even know what it was called. But that is the kind of things that speak to me. I'm a huge empath. I cry over commercials. So I need words and I need to know my why. Now this is one, the I am a goal digger, and I'll kind of walk you through it. We're almost done here for questions and answers. But with the I am a goal digger sheet, at the top is where you want to write, when I feel like giving up, I will remember my why. Now I'll tell you, when I first did this, I wrote my party why that I tell basically during my story and everything, my story, my party. And then I ended up crossing that off and I got real deep with myself. And I wrote down why all these things really were important to me. It was something another consultant we love, Amanda Galt, kind of backed me through for one of her trainings, where one of the ladies just broke her down. Why is that important? Why is that important? Broke her down. Yes. To the point where she was like, and she didn't even realize that all of that was buried in there. So you just got to keep going back down. And it's cool if you don't want to share that with the team, that's your personal stuff, but just know what it is in here. Okay. And then so it was set up for 6 goals at a time. Now this again can be all pure romance. This can be a combination. Now, if I were smart, I would have prepared my materials that I have around here, but during flash sale, God only knows where all of this is at. But I will often have a family goal, a fitness goal, and not fitness like I work out, just don't eat a bunch of crap, Nicole, because for me, the running around I do in my backyard is my workout. But you can have your sales goal, your how many partners do I want to help goal, any of these. Do you have debt that you need to pay off? And for me, I don't write out this I am a goal digger sheet for the year. I do this every quarter, kind of like Chris's 90-day challenge he was doing last year. I make a new one of these every single quarter. For one, with them being pretty simple with only 3 action steps, a whole year, you might just give up. You're like, oh yeah, I'm doing that, I'm good. In your mind, you subconsciously just quit reading it because you have a whole year. But when it's like, no, this is just next 3 months, next 3 months, next 3 months. And I started changing to that because of COVID. I didn't know what was going to happen in the next year. I didn't know what was going to happen in the next 2 months. When I started designing my life quarterly, it made a huge difference. So that is what that sheet is. You got your 3 action steps. And so your action steps, say that your goal is you want to pay down $5,000 in debt. So like your first action step might be, again, you're going to do the math. You're going to break in how many parties you have to have, what your party average is. So your first action step might be, I need to hold 10 parties. Well, that'd be really good. I need to hold 20 parties. Okay. That's cool. How are you going to hold those 20 parties? That would be your next action step. I am going to consistently talk to blah, blah, blah women a day. I am going to do 2 online sales per month in case I have cancellations. Again, preparing for things that could go wrong, but just 3 specific action steps. And then what is your deadline that you have to have it done by? So those are just a few resources. And I just want to, again, point out, like, that big dream, you're going to start thinking about it. And yes, I would I might be able to without losing. I am a huge dream board person. I am about done here, Dee, so we can start doing questions and answers. But if I can't turn this around. I'll just go like this. I am a huge dream board person. I've got a dream board just for pure romance and our release resistance business. Over here, don't look at the messages. I have another dream board just for money stuff. So yes, dream boards, visuals, and then the big thing too, especially if you have something like the I Am a Gold Digger sheet that you have filled out, I highly suggest you make a copy. I keep a copy in my car. I did have a copy on the fridge until the family got sick of looking at it every day. So now it's on my bathroom mirror. I'm like, you guys need to be in on my goals too, because help all of you. But keep in mind, you want to move where you keep those things. Like keep one on you at all time, but whatever visuals you have up in front of you, move them around occasionally if you have that luxury, because your subconscious mind gets used to seeing it in that place and it doesn't even pay attention anymore. So just another little Jedi trick. But with that, I look back at my notes already. It doesn't look like I missed anything, but I really just wanted to give you ladies permission to dream, to know that your goals don't have to be all business related. It all ties together, because I think we know when our personal life sucks, eventually your business starts to too, and vice versa. So just know that these goals can tie together. You can pivot and all of the things. I will stop talking and ask if you ladies have any questions.
You ladies, you're more than welcome to unmute yourself now if you have specific questions. If you can't unmute yourself, if you rather put them in the chat, you're more than welcome to. While we're waiting for anybody that has any specific questions, I want to tag on to what Nicole was saying as far as giving yourself permission and being able to dream, because one time we went through this exercise where we were writing down our goals, and one thing that, I know Chris has talked about this, that a lot of times we're like, okay, goal set for the next 3 months, goal set for the next year. What about the next 5 years or the next 10 years? I want you ladies right now, just think in your brain, what did your life look like 5 years ago? So we're 2021. So God, what would that be? 2016? Am I right on my math? So what was your life like in 2016? What do you have now, or what have you accomplished now versus what your life was like in 2016? Now I want you to do the even scarier thing. Go back 10 years. What did your life look like 10 years ago, December 2011? Is it a 10? Yeah, 2021. So that's 2011. My God, my math skills are horrible. But like, I'll give you an example. 10 years ago, we only had one child. I know some of you know all my daughters, and you've been, kind of watching us on our family journeys. But now I like thinking back, I didn't have two of them
Mhm.
back 10 years ago. I didn't have, or heck, going just back 5 years ago, I didn't have my pool. I have always wanted a pool. That was one thing as a kid. I hated that my dad was so anti pools. He was like, "No, there's so much work. They're not worth it." And I was a fish. I every time we ever went camping and there was a pool, or anytime we went to the ocean, I would swim at the Atlantic Ocean when we lived in Maine, and the Atlantic was like, 60 degrees or 50 degrees. I mean, it was cold, but I love swimming. So to be able to achieve my childhood goal and have my own pool, that was like, oh, oh God, Heather, high school, don't make me feel so old. I'm celebrating my 20-year anniversary this year from high school. Okay, so you got married in 2016. So yeah, a lot of things have changed, but I want to make that point, ladies. Looking backwards of what your life was like 5 years ago and 10 years ago, now imagine the possibility of moving forward. What do you feel your life will look like in 5 years? What do you feel your life will look like in 10 years? Okay. And I know I put up a post asking about that, and a couple of you had responded on that. So, like for me personally, I love the idea of having a rental property. Now, I'm not going to go to as far as the fact that like Nicole does with glamping right on site. We rather have it off a ways, have those people away from where we're living. But I love the idea of running a vacation home like on a lake, or at a beach somewhere. I love that income opportunity, but I also like the idea of kind of like dressing up a house for guests to come visit. My mom actually wanted to run a B&B when we were kids. So that kind of already was in my mind of having a, not a B&B, but something like that. You guys also know I love scuba diving. I would love to become a dive master within 10 years. But I know the reality is to achieve that, you have to have a certain amount of dives, and you have to have a lot more a lot more schooling, dive schooling. I don't have the time for that right now with my girls. I know that. But I know when they hit teenagerhood and they don't want to do anything with mom, they don't want to hang out with mom, they want to hang out with their friends, or they're going to go and do their own jobs. That's going to open up a lot more time that I could do some things like that. So I want you guys to kind of dream big. I don't know if you remember this, Nicole, but when we did this exercise, what did we do 3 years ago that we did this exercise when we were at the hotel? Okay. I remember on my 10-year plan, I put down that I was going to have a mobile boutique. Achieved it within 3 years. Yeah, I totally forego even the 5-year plan, heck, 10-year plan. I've got to do it in 3. So, I mean, that's what I really would love for you guys to goal plan small, like Nicole, because these are really good to have bite-sized chunks. But I also, like Nicole said, I want you guys to give yourself permission to dream big and write that shit down. So that way, when you achieve it early, you can be like, oh my God, I had a plan that I was going to have this done within 10 years and I got it done in 5. I got it done in 6. I want that for you guys, because that is a huge, like, oh, feeling. Okay. All right. Does anybody have any particular questions? Anything specific for Nicole or for anybody here about goal setting or, dream boards, or how to plan out what you want for your business, or how to use your business as a vehicle for other things? Does anybody happen to have any questions? You're more than welcome to put it in the chat, or you can unmute yourselves.
I have a question.
Our guest speaker has a question.
I don't actually have a question. It's just another tip. As I was looking over at my dream board as you said that, and saw some stuff actually with a check mark and a little heart next to it. So for those of you that love the idea of doing a dream board, but you're not all crafty, like picture Sarah Ingham doing a dream board, like, come on. What I do when I make mine, because I am not looking through magazines for 12 hours, I write down what I'm looking for. I'll just Google it, copy paste, throw it all on a Word page, print it, and then cut it all out together. But I will say we make it a family event here. At our house, my husband doesn't participate because he's like, you guys do you, I'm going outside. But we make it a family event. At some point at the end of the year during Christmas break, the girls and I, we write down, because you can't make a dream board if you don't know what you want. So I make them write down at least 5 things that they want over the next year. And then they go through, find their pictures. And I have to tell you, those of you that have children, for one, you're normalizing setting goals, dreaming, letting them know that anything can happen with enough work. But it's just really amusing too, to not only instill that in them, but to see what their dreams and goals are. Because I think one of the first times we did this, I want to say Allie, who is now 10, same age as Triton, but I want to say that it was 3 when she first did hers. Aww. And that shit is so funny. As a mom, I wish I would have saved it. It had the most ridiculous stuff on there, but those were her dreams, man. So just keep in mind, it doesn't have to be just you. It can be a lot of fun to do it as a family.
Out of curiosity, what are some of the goals that the girls have had recently?
So Allie had last year that she wanted to become a YouTuber. And she since has. We now have her on YouTube. She makes Minecraft videos. It's terrible stuff. But she has all her little things that she does that she's into. Terrible from my point of view. Kids her age, like, cool, whatever. And then she really wanted to go on roller coasters. So we went to Cedar Point last year. She wanted to learn how to read better. So she had a picture of a bunch of books. Now some of Ava's examples, because Ava is my 15-year-old, she wanted to go to more plays because she is in a lot of plays. She had that she wanted to, she was going to do the advanced engineering classes, and she's done them all. Hers are more realistic and academic. And it's funny to see the little me, where Allie's are a couple things she wants to do, and then mostly shit that she wants. Like toys and
it's like a Christmas wish.
Bunch of pictures of Lego. Yeah, it really is. Oh, dude, don't even get me started on that. I got my 11-year-old's Christmas wish list right here. Sorry, 10-year-old. I don't know how old she is. 10-year-olds. Like, it's ridiculous. LOL dolls, makeup, squishies, important things.
Oh yeah, very important.
But no, cute. You should do it with the girls.
I think that's a really viable thing for all of us to do with our kids. And I actually have not done that with the girls, but I think I want to. Aurora, I see your comment or your question.
We get sparkling grape juice.
Aurora asks, how do I move past a new, very demanding job with no time for parties to keep my business alive? And I know she is like, I've talked to her about this, about her new job. Like, she is fucking sorry, I shouldn't drop the F one. Her job, like, and it made it harder because I know she had someone that left her work that basically she had to take up their workload as supervisor and all that, and she's dealing with, contractors and stuff like that. Nicole, you can voice what you think. My one little tidbit would be find out what brings you joy out of the business, like what you like, and only focus on that. Like, don't feel like, oh, I have to do parties, I have to build a team, I have to have a VIP group being thriving, I have to do flash sales or stuff like that. If you just like to have a one-on-one with a person just occasionally to get out of the house from your computer screen of working for 14 hours straight, maybe make that a priority of once a month. There is one day that you're going to schedule to either do a party or do a one-on-one with a couple people that have shopped with you in the past. That's what would be my tidbit, because I know that you're working like 14, 15-hour days. And I feel that you would be driving yourself nuts trying to do different things. Like, this day I'm going to do VIP group. This day I'm going to do parties. This day I'm going to do that. And it just doesn't cohesively work with how busy you are. What would you say, Nicole?
Almost the exact same damn thing. Everything that you're saying, I'm like, yep. And then you ended with a one party part. So I was going to suggest, like, if you think you have to party, but the parties are what bring you joy and you're working that much, maybe you just do your one party a month as your treat, as your get like your release. And I couldn't agree with that more, because as the glamping business, this summer was bananas. I was literally working sometimes 16 to 18 hours a day. And I literally had to realize I can't do it all. Nicole, you're one person. You can't please everybody on the team. You can't keep making this and this in sales. You can't make the entire all of these different things. So what I would focus on is, what do I absolutely have to get done today or this week to keep it afloat? And I would only do those one or two things. And then definitely, like you said too, still make sure you're doing what brings you joy. If I'm a big learner, so maybe if I didn't have time to do my parties because my work is like kicking my ass, but I love learning, maybe a 10-minute in my car watching the YouTube videos, learning quick little tidbits. So I still feel like I'm in the loop. I'm still learning, but you don't have to focus on the numbers. And you just don't make yourself crazy, man. Pivot and know that you can get back to that when you want to. You don't have to work 24 hours a day. You can't.
Yeah. I would also say, like, not only find what brings you joy, but also what really truly motivates you. Like, many of you ladies know, numbers don't really motivate me. Like, they're really good, like, goal setting. Like, I would like to hit this and I would like to hit that, but I'm not a numbers person. Y'all know that. I do truly like Excel spreadsheets, but I am not Excel crazy like some people. I am not the person that is like, I know, how much profit I make at my parties by the dime. I went and did a party. Woo! I made money. I'm good. I don't track that stuff. I don't do tracking at all, but that's not my forte. My forte is more of, you guys know, where's the sheet of paper? Yeah, I checked the fun, what was it? People oriented, love to talk, motivational, enthusiastic, recognition oriented. That's me. I am not numbers. I am not detail oriented. I am not, analytical. God, I am not analytical whatsoever. I'm in the negative of analytics. That's why I married a math major. Have I ever told you guys this? He actually tracks my analytics on my business more than I do. Like, he looks at my reports of like, hey, if you did this much more in sales, you get that bonus this way. I'm like, damn it. So yeah, do that. Brings you joy. Yeah, Heather, I know you're the analytical person to a T. She's like, I'm the last too. Yeah, you are very the persistent analytical person, but you are very loyal and family oriented and all that. All right.
Amount of geeked that I got on Sunday trying to figure out what would make me more money for like ordering lingerie in bulk as a client or a consultant is disgusting. I should not have been that excited.
But that's awesome for the fact that you can reap the benefits of that. And at some point, I'm probably going to have you do a training on how to reap the benefits of analytics, because that's something you guys are going to lack from me training you, because I don't do analytics. All right. Does anybody else have any last questions regarding goal setting, planning, anything that you want to share so that way we can hold you accountable? Mm-hmm. Going once, going twice. No one's feeling brave. Everyone's like, no, D, because then you're going to make me do something. Yeah, I would.
I got one.
Amber, were you going to say something?
Yep.
What are you going to say, love?
I want to take my pure romance business minimum part-time this summer.
I
want to have a minimum of a part-time income, so I don't have to worry so much about relying on an employment for my income.
Wow. And I think I remember seeing, didn't you say that you have a long-term goal of getting a bigger house for yourself and your family?
Yes.
So that definitely can be using your business as that vehicle to achieve that family goal, that family dream, because it can be done. It definitely can be. Well, awesome. Well, then you knew I was already going to hold you accountable to that because you and I chatted about that, but I love the fact that you're brave enough to share with everybody. So that way all of us can hold you accountable to helping you in achieving that.
I love the fact that you guys hold me accountable. It really helps when I have any kind of struggle. All I got to do is say, hey, kick me in the butt. And there it goes.
Yep. All right, Nicole, do you happen to have any closing thoughts, any closing remarks before we go for the evening?
Well, I actually do. Do you know me or something? I just want to say that if you do not, I got to say it correctly, if you do not fail to plan, you are planning to fail. Have a good night, my ladies.
Do or do not. There is no try. Have a great night, ladies.
Right back there.
Yep. I don't want to hear try anymore,
Oh, we're
ladies.
still
Do or do not. Bye, ladies.